So then the solution to the problem would be, in all these cases, if you take them individually or collectively, choose life. And so there's a scripture in the Bible, Deuteronomy 30:19. I call heaven and earth to record this day against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Therefore choose life, that both thou and thy seed may live. May live. How do you choose life? I'm going to get into different ways that you choose life, the strategies. But one of the things that you need to think about is that life, that being in the prison is death. Even if you are walking around, breathing, using your mind, surviving, talking to people, having conversations, getting feedback, anything that you're doing is going to look like it's life because life is in you, right? Um, but in reality, that path is death. That path. All of you, if you really look out from your prison cell, you look out at everybody just walking about, whether it's within the prison or in the rec yard, look at them individually as death. That death is walking down the hall. Death is eating chow. Death is walking towards the rec yard. Death is two people fighting. Death is um, getting mad at the CEO. That's death. Those are all deaths. Those are all reflective of death. And even if you manage to stay alive in that situation, you are staying alive for death reasons. Now, what does that say about the people who have to be there for 25 years or life? Their time clock of death has already started. As soon as they were sentenced and had to be in handcuffs and walk to the prison, their time clock of death. So now they have to live with the anxiety, the stress, the worry, and it's not to get out. It's the hope that comes with that particular position that they took, that there's this hope that they could get out or they hope to get out, but they're never going to get out. So it's death. And people might argue me down about that concerning calling it death, because then you're sort of criticizing the situation, or I'm sort of criticizing the situation and not having any hope for anybody. But the people who are going back and forth are essentially going back and forth into a graveyard. They might as well dig a ditch, dig a graveyard plot, put themselves in it, which is the prison, and then take the same shovel, try to dig themselves out of it, get up, go into life for a minute, and then have troubles in life and don't want to take on the responsibilities of life and return to the ditch, go ahead and dig it again. A lot of times you don't even have to dig it, it's still open for you. It's still open for you through the words of people who say, "Oh man, you'll be back," or the mocking of the CEO or the warden, or you can see it in their hearts that they know you're going to be back, right? You can see in people and your family and how they treat you, and man, you just like this or you just like that, man, you need to stay out of prison. At the same time, they're creating a situation where you may have to go back into prison. That they're contributing to it. They're provoking you to anger, right? They're not willing to help. They take on the responsibility of help, or they're saying that, but they're not really going to do it. So a lot of times it may be better for people who are getting out of prison to go the halfway house route instead of going straight to the family. The straight to the family is going to put a lot of pressures. It's going to put a lot of, it's going to have some anger with it. It's going to have some insecurity and embarrassment, because the first thing you're waiting on is when the next shoe is going to drop. When is someone in the house going to say you got to leave? Because that's what you're used to. You're always used to someone saying that you got to leave. That's why you end up homeless. That's why you end up doing something to go into prison, because you need somewhere to live. Well, you have to have life as an understanding, as a mindset, before you can choose somewhere to live. Because you can live in the you can actually reside in an apartment but don't live there. Your heart doesn't live there. You don't want to stay there. That's why you got people just in general who hop from place to place. They don't have to have they don't have to have gone to prison. They don't even have to have had a previous stint with homelessness. They can just be the types of people who move from place to place to place. My mother's cousin used to do that. I mean, it just seemed like every so often she was always moving from one apartment to the next apartment. I don't get it myself because I can't stand the move. Once I'm somewhere, I like to stay there for a while. Same thing with a job. But choosing life is always going to be a decision that you have to make. I set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Therefore, choose life. That's a decision that you have to make. Every day you leave your house, every day you put on clothes, every day you get on a bus, every day you drive your car, every day you go into the grocery store, every day you go to pay taxes, do whatever, whatever it is, you're choosing life. You're choosing life in this situation. When you are confronted with a decision to have a fight versus not have a fight, knowing that if you have a fight, it may result in you being arrested and going to jail, right? You have to choose in that moment. I cannot have a fight. I cannot do this. If I do this, I'm going to go to jail. I'm going to go to jail. So when you are thinking about this in terms of choosing life, when you're confronted with this choice of whether or not to choose life or death, think about the people who are going to come behind you. Think about the people who are watching you. A lot of times people make decisions based upon their own individual perspective, but they don't think about the community, the collective group of people who are going to come after them. They don't think about the kids who are watching them. They don't think about the women who are watching them. They don't think about the parents. They make decisions in a vacuum. They make decisions like no one else exists in the world. And that's really wrong to do that because you are not just one person in this world. You do have an obligation to yourself, but you also have an obligation to the people around you so that you don't create situations where they feel unsafe, where they feel like they have to walk on eggshells with you. Sure, someone has done you wrong. That's why you feel like you need to go back and forth into prison for some reason uh, uh, that's related to that. But you don't have the right to impose upon somebody else's free will to choose life just because you don't want to live life outside of the prison. So I just think about that a lot of times when people are making decisions and they think they are making decisions just for themselves, and I'm just going to look out for myself. I'm not going to worry about anybody else. That is a very selfish thing to do because your decisions that you make, they affect everything. They affect everybody. Like I said in the previous slide, the the um the prison system does need you. They need you for data and statistics, investments, money, finances, government funding. Every time you go back and forth, they get more money on your head. So when you're thinking about choosing life, think about that as a decision to choose life and to stand by that decision. All right. So now that you've gotten to the end, this is you can visit, subscribe, and follow. My website is reginawhyfavors.com. Then you can visit my YouTube channel, youtube.com// at Regina Y Favors. And then I have an author store, reginayfavorsauthor.com. I also have other types of websites as well. So thank you very much for listening.